Morning, good morning. How are ya? Rise and shine. It is Thursday morning. It is August the 3rd. It is 8 o'clock in the morning. I'm first warning meteorologist Eric Burris. This is Coffee Talk, where we get together 7 days a week to chat about what's going on in the world of weather, see how things are now, look ahead to what's happening later in the day, and genuinely just try and make sure you know what's going on, so that A, you can have that water cooler conversation, and B, impress your friends with just random little weather tidbits. Why not, right? That's the way I look at it. Anyway, let's look outside, shall we? There's a beautiful shot as we take you down to the tourist district. I spy with my little eye Body Wars. You're old if you know what Body Wars is. It's beautiful looking down toward Epcot there. Lovely morning in Central Florida. First warning live Doppler radar. Not perfectly quiet. There's just a couple little showers that we've been tracking. Let me take you down here to Brevard County, for example. Little bit of rainfall here across Brevard, particularly down around Palm Bay, Valcaria. There's Floridana Beach, kind of working up toward Melbourne Beach. Nothing strong, certainly nothing severe. A couple of showers earlier up here around Cocoa Beach and Merritt Island. Good downpours, as a matter of fact, right now over I-95. Working out toward the St. John's. That's it. Nothing really else doing. A couple of showers off the shoreline there of Volusia. A couple of downpours off of St. John's and Flagler counties. But again, not a bother for us. Temperatures out the door sitting in the lower 80s in the metro, 81 degrees in Orlando. It's 79 in Sanford, 75 in Palm Coast, and 76 degrees in DeLand. So where do we go from here today, right? We're heading up. 87 degrees our temperature at 11 o'clock, 90 by lunchtime. Average high is 92, and we'll get there this afternoon. Right on the mark. And not only right on the mark, but we're actually kind of adjusting the weather pattern around so that we can start bringing temperatures up a little bit more these next couple of days and bringing down that rain coverage. Today, 40% coverage of showers and thunder showers. So not a bad day at all. Not a bad day at all. That breeze coming in out of the east at 10 miles an hour. If you're at the beach, my God, it is going to be a lovely day. If you're not, at least that beach breeze helps to push the rains through the metro and then eventually set shop out west of town. So that said, let's take a minute and let's figure out the coverage for the day to, if I could spell it, figure out the coverage for the day today and just kind of get an idea of what we're looking at. Basically, metro, south, and west is really what we're looking at. In terms of Futurecast, let's dial in, shall we? See what's doing. I loaded the launch one accidentally. All right, so here we go. A couple of offshore showers this morning. Totally makes sense. Notice by lunchtime, we're going to start to get a little bit of rain kind of dialing up through the metro, right? Through 2 o'clock, and then everything is going to eventually work off toward the west coast, and that's where it all wants to go today. 8:30, 9 o'clock, my brother Frank might even get a little bit of rainfall today. Don't quote me on it, but, I mean, you know, it could happen. It could happen, yeah. So that's where we're at. In terms of high temperatures around Central Florida, definitely most comfortable at the beaches. 87 in Titusville, 88 degrees today in New Smyrna Beach. 86 in Palm Coast, 92 in Orlando, and about 92 degrees back over to Wildwood. So looking like a pretty good day. Definitely looking like a pretty good day. I'll pop up the day planner forecast again, and with that, say good morning to you all. Good morning, everybody. William, how are you? Rise and shine. Pat, good morning. Trina, David, good morning. Elizabeth, how's the Paisley area looking? Going to see my mom with the kids. A couple of showers, maybe a couple of thunder showers, but not looking too bad at all. Yeah, it's not looking bad. It looks like some isolated shower and thunderstorm activity, a lot like what we saw yesterday. Laura says Mount Dora hasn't had rain in like a week or more. And I know in your business, Laura, you need the grass to grow, right? Hopefully we'll get some rain out your way. Robin says, good morning to all my favorite people. Wishing you all an awesome day. I love that. Chris says, so it's a great day to swim. I would say it is a great day. Kellyanne says it's a good day. That's okay. She did the forecast today, so we'll do that. But I'm going to tell you it's a great day. That's my vote. Yeah. Yukon, go. Do your thing. Wife's back from a bike ride. Want to spend time with her. I would absolutely do the same thing. Now, Speaking of bike rides or walking the dogs, whatever you're wanting to do today, just enjoy as much as you can early because we're building in that heat later on today. And of course, we know that that heat is hot.
Doesn't take a meteorologist to say that, does it?
Yeah. Carla, good morning. Nancy, Karen, good morning, everybody. Frank, good morning, good morning. How are you? David, Karen, let's see, Deb's in the room. I love it. I love seeing everybody. Love seeing everybody. Oliver, what's up? How are you, buddy? Raphael says, sipping on some Pilone for a better day. That makes two of us. Beverly, a dry Friday morning for our shopping trip would be appreciated until about 3 o'clock to give our river time to get home dry. All right, so let's take a look at Futurecast then. Not just for today, but let's expand on that theme and take you to Friday. All right, so here we are tomorrow. Notice north of our area, there's going to be a little bit of extra activity, a little extra moisture there, right? Then playing it through 10:30, 11, 12 o'clock, we're going to notice that that essentially fades out and just kind of helps to eventually bubble up storms. But tomorrow's forecast is not looking all that active. And as a matter of fact, if we look at the next few days in terms of rainfall for Central Florida, we're looking at rain chances, but it's not wild. Today, we're at a 40% coverage, down to a 30% coverage tomorrow. And then Saturday, Sunday, my friends, that's when we're going to get back to that higher coverage of rainfall. So, just plan accordingly. It's not going to be a washout or anything like that. And I would also add to you that looking at the high temperatures, it's kind of the same idea here. As the rain chances go down, the temperatures start to go up. Saturday, Sunday are going to be hot. They're going to be hot. Yeah. Good times. That means any outdoor plans look and sound good, but we just kind of have to work accordingly. That's all. Just work accordingly. Linda says it's a beach day for us. Oh my gosh. You want to talk about a beach day? You want to go to the beach? Listen, I just wish that I could go with you. Surf running about 2 to 3 today. Water temperatures in the lower 80s, so it's cool to the touch, but not chilly. It's pretty good, frankly. Rip current is a moderate risk, so if you're heading to the beach, just be careful. I just beg you to be careful. Otherwise, it looks fantastic. It truly looks fantastic. Go play, have a good time. Laura says, I'm off today so the husband can deal with this heat. Good. You deserve a day off, and you keep that husband hydrated. Electrolytes. The graphic change is weird. Which graphic change, Taylor, is weird? Nancy, you're running that Pilone? Good it. You win by default. You got sheets, Kelly? Yeah. Elizabeth, a degree needed just to tell people it's hot. That's blasphemy. I know. Well, that's not where the degree comes in. The degree comes in when we're analyzing surface maps and tropical maps and all those things. All the fun. And I'll take care of you. Taylor, and these are words to live by, Taylor, right? Just remember, Florida's going to Florida. That is so true. Now, let's talk about another little tweak. So we've had a little ribbon of drier air sneak in, dropping our rain chances, and that's going to continue. But looking ahead, Saturday, Sunday, that dry air scooting on out, and we're back into steamy territory. So while making plans, we're going to be hanging out in the steamy category, but we're going to be getting higher in that steamy category. Thankfully, at least for now, it doesn't look like we're getting straight up miserable, but we're hanging out in the steamy category. Yeah. Oh, what changed the rain here? What you're talking about is the background with the boots, the rain boots. I don't know. Somebody changed. We've got I do graphics for I'll show you. I do graphics for almost 30 television stations. And so when it comes to graphics like this, there are so many different varieties of backgrounds that we have. Like there's rain falling. That's just rain. We've got the rain boots. I've got rain falling. What else do I have? Rain traffic. I guess if I back it up, you could see like there's cars, right? Got rain traffic. This is what I do. A rain umbrella. I know you've seen this one before, right? What else do I have? I mean, if you looked at the database of graphics that we have, you would laugh. And then I've got and then I've got others for like flooding. There's flooding. So there's a bunch of graphics. Regatta. I mean, if you name it, if it has happened, I've got beer backgrounds for beer festivals. Yeah. There's always money in the banana stand. There's always graphics in the graphic system. Oh man. Any chance of a run in the mid 80s anytime soon if you go in the morning? Yeah. So yeah, that's what it wasn't the background, it was the actual text in the table. Oh, so you were talking about, because I just used this instead. I popped the graph up. So that's, yeah, I mean, it's just another one that we use. You should do one with Bluey. Well, if there's an editorial need to do something with Bluey, that's one thing. Just to do it, that's a different thing. Yeah. Daniel, I remember TV production class in like 1995. Ooh, graphics. Oh yeah. Oh, look. There's a reason that I do the graphics. Donna says shuttle graphic is probably your favorite. I don't know. I do have a shuttle background that I made like 6 weather packages ago, but not on this. But I mean, I've got so many. I've got Falcon 9 background. I've got Falcon Heavy background. I've got Delta background. Crew Dragon background. I've got the SLS back. I mean, this is not that you care. I've got so many. I've got an Atlas background. Relativity back. This is where we're at. I'm telling you, there's more backgrounds. It's wild. And isn't there always an editorial need for Bluey? If I could find one, I would do it. I have seriously, a takeout background. Chris, Harvard Graphics is really old school. That was the first, I'm not going to lie to you. And I don't know if my father's in the room right now, but if Dad is, he'll know. Harvard Graphics is what got me into graphics. 100% true. I was fascinated with Harvard Graphics. Find that alien graphic. Jim has it. Totally usable with the... I don't know that. I made like an Earth background like this, and I use it for different things like long-range forecasting. But I don't think I ever made an alien background. You need a dog show background for December? We definitely have a dog. I mean, there's definitely a dog background. Heck, I even showed it already today. There's your pup background for the dog walking forecast. So I made this, and one of our stations, no joke, one of our stations said, "What about a cat walking forecast?" And I said, "You're crazy." And then she said, "No, I'm serious." And so I made the background. Here. This is the background for the cat walking forecast. And you'll notice there's a cat with a leash on. That's for WISN in Milwaukee. The cat walking forecast. Ay vey. Oh, he has it. Yeah, it must be. So it must. But Kelly, that has to be a news graphic. That wouldn't have been a weather graphic. Laura says my OB was late to my C-section because she was walking her cat. I didn't know that was a thing, but here we are. Yeah. Elizabeth says it's so easy for us to get off topic. We must all have ADHD. I mean, I can tell you I've never been diagnosed, but if the shoe fits, wear it, right? Oh, man. I do graphics for over 30 years. Now I did graphics for over 30 years. Now I just paint acrylics. Hey, Jan, that sounds great. I do love the dog walking forecast. There's a lady in my neighborhood, I kid you not, who walks her cat on a leash. There you go. What about a lizard or asking a lizard background? I've not had one of those done. Oh, man. A lizard walking. Yeah, no. Nope. Okay. All right. So enough of that. Somebody brought up the wave off the coast of Africa. There's an interesting little bugger out there. Let's take a look at the tropics. Okay, so wide shot of the basin, looking fine. Nothing named out there. But notice that bottom right corner of your screen. There's a little something, a little goober. Let's zoom in that direction just a little bit. There's nothing named, but I got to tell you, that thing is interesting, right? Nikki, horseback riding forecast. I do have a background for that. Yep, I do. So that thing's interesting. The thing about this is when these monsoonal troughs roll off the coast of Africa, they have to get their sea legs, right? Well, this one definitely looks like it's gotten its sea legs. Now, it'll be interesting to see how this all plays out, but that's an interesting little wave. So let's do this. Let's take a look at the raw computer model data and just kind of get an idea of what the models are trying to do with this. Understand, computer models are guidance, not gospel, right? Okay, so right off the bat there, I'm just going to stop it. You see that 10-12 low just above where it says forecast high? That is this thing, okay? So let's continue and just kind of watch through. The model does try to develop it subtly. There it is, north of, say, the Antilles, north of St. Croix, north of Puerto Rico. At that point, though, it's important to note, and I'll just zoom it in, it's not a very deep low. So the models do try to track it all the way from Africa. I mean, today is August 3rd. It's southwest of the Cabo Verde Islands. There it is, Thursday, August 10th. A week from today, due north of Puerto Rico. That's the current run. We'll look at the other runs as well. After that, kind of brings it into like the Turks Caicos and then to like Cuba. And then it finally tries to develop it in the Florida Straits south of us and works it into perhaps Texas as a hurricane. That's the current model run, okay? Let's back this up. We'll go to the full basin view. And I'll bring it to right there. Okay, that's Wednesday. Let's go back a model run and just see. Same spot. Kind of develops it and brings it up toward like the northern Gulf Coast. Go back 3 model runs. Doesn't really develop it, but develops another thing that brings it into the Carolinas and then brings this wave over to like Louisiana pretty weak. Go back 3 runs. Keeps it weak and dirty all the way through the Gulf. Go back 4 runs. And it's weak and dirty into like the Yucatan. So, takeaway. There's a wave. And the model data is not consistent on any of that. Cool. All right. So that's good to know. What about the European model data, right? Let's take a look. Okay, so here's the European. Not really doing much. There it kind of is around Puerto Rico around Wednesday, Thursday of next week. Not really trying to develop it. And then afterward, that's the 17th of August, kind of starting the wave train up in the open waters of the Atlantic. So, that could be a sign of things to come, basically. We'll just have to, watch and see how that plays out. Now, that said, any questions before we go on to the ensembles? All right, the ensembles are a whole other thing. Let's see here. Jeannie says, no with the interesting. I know. I don't like interesting in the tropics, but you have to understand we're getting to the peak of hurricane season, and that sort of thing is to be expected. That's the way it's just going to go. This time of year, that's just the way it goes. Did I miss the August long-range calendar? No, I have to do it. I haven't done it yet. Yes, Mickey's asking about the ensembles over on YouTube. I'll get you in just a few seconds. Chris says, number 1, must be consistent. Number 2, must have agreement. And we don't have any of that. But there's a decent little wave that we're going to have to watch. Y'all turn your fans on and start dumping ice off the East Coast, right? Yeah. Elizabeth, so this is something I've always wondered. What happens when these things get to, like, England? Does England get hurricanes like us? The water temperatures there are so cold. By the time it gets up there, most, like, I don't know the percentage, but a high percentage of them just become these weak, not weak, but these non-tropical lows. So there's that. Janet's asking if there's any dust left. Let me pull up the Saharan air layer. Give it a second. All right, so there's us. Not much around here. Let me widen the view. Give it a second to go buffer the data. Yeah, there's a lot of Saharan dust, but it's north, right? So at least where this wave is, it's kind of riding along the south side, which is very normal. Once we get into August, the Saharan air usually subsides significantly. John, did you adopt a dog? I did not adopt a dog or a cat. No adoptions in my neighborhood. No. Any LRC pattern that wave fits into? I'd have to go back and study timing and everything, but not a threat to us, at least. I mean, I have to see where, like there was one little thing around Texas. There was a little piece that didn't end up making it as a hotspot, but kind of an area of interest. So I'll have to check that out. Mr. Mike, good morning to you, Mr. Mike. Mike's weather page with the weather rock tweet. Loved it. All right, let's see here. How long does it take on average for a system to cross the Atlantic? Oh, that's a good question. And then let's get to the ensembles, friends. Oh my gosh. Here's the timeline. And this graphic is rough and dirty, but the idea is when it's out near the Cabo Verde Islands, which is where this wave is, you're talking a week to 2 weeks time on. This is average, but you're talking like a week to 2 weeks time for something to cross. So we've got a ton of time to watch whatever that wave is out there, and certainly that's what we're going to be doing, right? But as a whole, thankfully the basin is quiet, with the exception of that interesting little wave there out near the Cabo Verde Islands. All right. Okay, enough of that. Let's switch back over. Let's look at the models. This is the ensemble plots, okay? Now, what are the ensembles? Think of it as 51 flavors of Baskin-Robbins. What we're looking at is ensemble projections for tropical development. It's basically, this is the GFS 51 times run over itself. So it gives you the chance to look closely and to kind of see. And you can kind of see there's some ensemble support around the southeastern United States. Around Saturday the 12th. Including, there's the 14th, 15th. So you can see that there's definitely some ensemble support. Not a ton, but there's definitely some ensemble support for stuff around. So it's definitely something to watch. It's definitely something to watch. There's some ensemble support mid, August 15th or so. Not a ton, but there's some. There's some ensemble members. Now let's switch over and let's look at the European ensembles. All right, you can see there's quite a few European ensemble members kind of cruising through the Caribbean, heading toward the Yucatan, right? Kind of see some of those members there. So around the middle of the month, there's some Ensemble support. Be interesting to watch. At the very least, though, know what we know, which is that there's a decent wave out there, and it's something to watch. And we'll be watching it with zero hype. And if you've been with me a long time, you know hype is not what I do. I'll give you the information straight, but I'm not going to hype it. I'm going to tell you what I know. I'm going to tell you what I don't know. And I'm also going to tell you if somebody says they know this, they're pulling your leg, right? Because we know what we know. We don't know what we don't know. So for right now, there's an interesting little wave with like a week and a half, 2 weeks to watch. So we'll do that. All right. Back here at home, heat building. ACs are running. Power bills are climbing. Mike, I'm looking at you, buddy. Poor guy. Oh, man. There you go. Any questions about the tropics? Any questions about our local forecast? Any questions about life? Trina says no hype. Yeah, we're not hyping. Look, it's easy to hype. Oh my God, a hurricane's going to hit us. No, we're going to look at raw data, and we're going to be clinical about this, about all of it. You do kind of hype how much you don't hype. That's a paradox. Oh, man. Looking forward to coming over early September, Sarah says. Just keep the hurricanes away, because I'll tell you what, the windows in our long-range forecast for hurricanes, early and mid-September. Like late, like right, like September 1st through about the 14th, there's a couple opportunities. Yeah. Anne, is 3:30 Coffee Talk going to resume? Yeah, I need to. I think I can probably start doing that again. I'll shoot to do that today. I'll shoot to get that done today. All right. Any other questions, comments, concerns, friends? Anything? Can you explain how a system gets its sea legs? Sure. Yeah. This is an obvious oversimplification, but essentially, it's a very obvious simplification. But essentially, when you get these monsoons rolling off, and I don't have the right satellite up. I've got the Atlantic, not the African side here. Yeah, it's fine. But when you get this like trough rolling off the coast of Africa, it's a monsoon. It's an African monsoonal flow. So once it hits the water, the dynamics are completely different. So essentially, the storm system has to kind of, it's like when you're awakened from a dead sleep. You're like, okay. All right, I'm waking up. I'm here. And that's basically it. These monsoonal troughs come off the coast of Africa. They wake up, and then some of them try to take advantage of all of that warm water in the Atlantic. And what ends up happening is, it's lifting that evaporation and it's pulling it in, and then you get tropical systems. And this is not, this guy is not a tropical system in any way, shape, or form yet. But I got to tell you, wouldn't surprise me if this gets called an invest at some point in the not so distant future, if it continues to look as healthy as it does. You know what I mean? I know that's an oversimplification, and I apologize. But we don't need to get any more technical than that. I'll get technical if it's needed, but we don't need to. But that's essentially the way that it works. Taylor says you've had a lot going on. No rush to do the extra for us. We appreciate anything you do for us. Thank you. Yeah, I think we can start getting back to it. I appreciate that. And I appreciate y'all's flexibility. Annette says, I appreciate the non-hype about hurricanes. Ain't nobody got time for that crap. Listen, and you know what the thing is, too, is I always laugh when it comes to talking tropics. People will text me and be like, so what's really going to happen? Or they'll text my wife and they'll be like, so what's really going to happen? And I just laugh because, listen, I'm not dogging any meteorologist that I work with or that I, that work across the street. But like I sit here for at least a half an hour, basically 7 days a week in the morning, and we talk while I'm sipping my morning coffee. We call it coffee talk. We're unbelievably creative. I tell you exactly what's on my mind. Like the fact that y'all are hanging out says either Maybe you're like a little sick in the head to hang out with someone as goofy as I am, or maybe we're just that many nerds. But either way, like I tell you everything the way that sits on my mind. And so like I just laugh when somebody's like, tell me what's really going to happen. Because in my mind, I want to be like, watch Coffee Talk. I talked for like a half an hour telling you exactly what was on my mind. And when hurricanes are hitting, and I've got all these friends that I don't talk to much. Hey, I hope you're well. Listen, tell me what's going to happen with that hurricane. Or like people that my wife hasn't talked to in forever that are like, hey, I hope everything's well. Listen, ask your husband, what's the hurricane going to do? I'm just like, y'all, that's what Coffee Talk is. We don't hype. We just talk through everything. Right? Like a vault. I always laugh at that. Rosina, which months have the most hurricanes? That is a great question. And I will load the graphic for you. Essentially, September 10th is the peak of hurricane season. September 10th, September 11th, depending on exactly how you look at it. All right, so we essentially have like 90% of hurricane season ahead of us. Now, some people would say it's been pretty quiet out, but it hasn't. By all the metrics, we are at an above average start to the hurricane season. It's been quiet the last couple of weeks, but we've had 5 named storms already, including 1 hurricane, and the average first hurricane happens in mid-August. So we're above the average, but there's a lot of hurricane season left. Yeah. Yep. Karen, love you. Betty, thank you. I appreciate it. Patty says, we just need to be prepared. Nothing more we can do. That's it. That's it. Yeah. Thank you, Laura. I appreciate it. K Cannon, Nerds Unite. Love it. Or you're that good at your job. We want to know the truth. Well, thank you. But, I always laugh when people are like, so tell me what's really going to happen. Bro, it's like I'm not trying to tell everybody it's going to rain so that I can go play golf by myself. You know what I mean? Oh, man. Josue, thank you very much, buddy. I appreciate that. It's the gaggle of geeks, Jan. It's the gaggle of geeks. Elizabeth, a lot of graphics that you look at, we have access to as well, correct? Yeah, well, like, for example, the raw models, there's many ways to get that. I will tell you one of the resources that is fantastic for raw models, Tropical Tidbits. Go Google that website, y'all. Tropical Tidbits. That thing is money. And donate if you here. I think. Let me see if I can pull that up for you. Tropical Tidbits. Is it net? Or is it .com? Tropicaltidbits.com. All right, hold on. I'm going to pull up the website so that I can share it with you all. Coffee Talk is not very professional, which means that sometimes you get that. All right, so there's Tropical Tidbits. And for those of you that are interested in exploring, at the very top, you can get current storms. You could get all the data, like that's Hurricane Dora, aircraft reconnaissance data, but obviously we don't have satellite imagery. Forecast models. This is meat and potatoes. And then from forecast models, you can change the views. See regions in the kind of bottom left. We can do tropics. We'll just do tropical Atlantic. There's your full tropical Atlantic. You get sounding data. You can go through time. Like there's the waves that we were just tracking, and there's different elements to it. So Tropical Tidbits, I do not make money on this, but I will tell you that it's run by a truly brilliant meteorological mind. Ensembles are on, all kinds of stuff's on there. It's good stuff. So yeah, you can have access to that too. Yep. Charles says Tropical Tidbits with Levi for the win. Oh, for sure. Yeah. Mike says, this shows how good I feel Eric is. I moved out of Florida 8 years ago, and he's been the authority on hurricane information that I've found. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate that. Thank you. Oh, Becky, I appreciate that. You made a Curb Your Enthusiasm and Arrested Development reference in like 10. Oh, hey, listen. Those are two great. Those are two great products. Oh, man. All right. Any other questions, comments, concerns? Yeah, I tell it like it is. That's all. That gets me in trouble with the wife all the time, too. Good times. All right. Enough. All right. I'll try and do a 3:30 today, and hopefully we won't have too much to track tropically. Sound good? Sound good. All right. Be the sunshine in someone else's day. Thank you so much for hanging out for Coffee Talk. See y'all later. 3:30. Sound good? We'll do that again. All right. Bye, y'all. Thank you so much.